Welcome back. You're watching us here on Chartbusters. Let's get chatting with the management of DB Corp. That stock is in focus after reporting their numbers. We have Mr. Agarwal joining in. More than the numbers, we'll watch out for how the trends for ad revenue as well as circulation pan out as well. Mr. Girish Agarwal, thank you for joining in. And that really is the first question. Over the next, I think, he's on mute, but we'll try and, All right, now I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Thanks a lot, Mr. Agarwal, for joining in.
Thank you.
We have 5 states going into elections. There's UP, there's Uttarakhand, there's Punjab, Manipur, as well as Goa. What proportion of your revenues come in from UP, Uttarakhand, and Punjab? I would reckon that would be a meteor chunk. And in that, how much of it comes from government and political parties?
So for us, fortunately, none of these elections really contributing number to us.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good thing for us.
Okay, all right. Then let's talk about business, Mr. Agarwal. You're almost at around, 90% plus. When do you think you get to around 100%?
If you look at the last quarter 3, we did an EBITDA of almost 159 crores. And I think October, November, if you see the advertising number, it clearly indicates that fundamentally the advertisers for the tier 2, 3, 4 level has come back to the Indian language print. I think that's a big win for us. And I'm very confident that this quarter and going forward, things should be better than 1920 actually.
Right. Let's talk about your circulation revenue as well. Can you tell us how much of that was on account of yields and how much of that was on account of increased circulation, volume versus any price hike that you've taken?
So we have taken a price hike in certain markets around 50 paisa or across. Okay. But largely we are at almost 90% of our pre-COVID level. So we still have 10% copies to gain back from the market. And I think because of the markets and offices not being very regular, there's still some problem in that.
Okay.
But as far as the domestic copies are concerned, I think that's in a pretty good shape.
You're saying that advertising is growing, right? Which categories are really participating? If you could tell us, are there new categories you've got into, or are they the old categories that are driving business?
So actually both of them. If you see, the real estate and healthcare has been showing a huge momentum. And now the new categories like bitcoins and all the digital platforms, they are advertising in a big way with us. Now that's also fundamentally important to understand that what is happening. Every possible consumer company is looking at tier 2 and 3 cities. Now for that, the Indian language newspapers are the ones who really offer the market and geo-targeting, what you call it. So I think that way, I believe the print is going to have a very good time, at least for this 23 and 24 onwards.
You said that 90% you're back to 90% of your pre-COVID levels as far as your subscription is concerned. Can you give us a sense of whether this 90% is sustainable at any point in time, that 10% is lost for good to digital? And having spoken about digital, how is that business growing? Has it broken even?
So let me correct you there. The 10% has not been lost to digital.
Okay.
So what happened out of that 10%, almost 3% was on the railway stations. Now because of the new rules, you can't have many trains and people don't wait at the station. So that copies has gone down. Also the offices and the work from home is happening. The government has just started working back as the government. So all these copies are largely, I would say, from the offices and markets and the stations. So that, I would say, another 2-3% will come back. But yes, having said that, I think we have lost around 3%, 4% copies to digital also. Now coming to your second question on the digital side. So I think we are doing a fantastic job over there. From a 2 million app daily users, we are now at almost 15 million daily app users. I think that's a pretty good number we have got.
Okay, all right. Mr. Agarwal, you had mentioned, I remember a couple of quarters ago, that you had undertaken some cost-cutting measures. How much of that has sustained? And could you quantify that number? What does it mean for margins going ahead?
So we were talking about almost 195 crore saving in the year 2021. Out of that, we were initially thought that 50% could have been able to sustain for this year. But happy to inform you that almost 70% has been sustained. And we believe that going forward, that number should continue.
195 crore. And how are newsprint prices right now? How do they compare to the previous quarter?
That's a pain point. That's a big pain point because we are currently at almost 44,000 tons. And looking forward for the next 2 quarters, this prices seems to be going up on.
So will you have to then take price hikes?
We'll see how it goes. If the pricing comes back more than our 19 number, then we would be happy to stay there only.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Agarwal, for joining in, giving us all those details. In fact, actually, just before we let you go, a word on your radio business, because that's the one that has recovered fully to pre-COVID. And, both print and radio, you said for print 3%, 3 to 4% copies you've lost to digital forever. But going ahead, incremental growth can we see here? Because newspapers seem like a fairly penetrated place in the market, so do radios. What's under-penetrated is both digital and podcasts. Do you think the incremental growth would be a problem?
I think couple of percentages growth from the markets like Bihar, Gujarat, Rajasthan will certainly come.
Okay.
Because we are still have a lot of potential in the tier 3, 4 and 5 cities. I think till now we were slightly avoiding them, but we will go down there also and take that 2 scores.
Good speaking to you, Mr. Agarwal. Thanks so much for stopping by. Look forward to having a chat with you in the next couple of months. Well, for the Nifty itself,